Have you ever poured your heart into building a quiet life, only to have a neighbor with a clipboard and a superiority complex turn your sanctuary into a war zone? That's exactly what I faced in Maple Ridge, where my backyard pool mess lies. A piece became the battleground for Karen Ton, our HOA president, who thought her title gave her free reign over my property. Her teenage son's trespassing, a false 911 call, and her own greed led to police lights flashing across her pristine lawn and handcuffs snapping shut on her wrists. How did one woman's petty power trip spark a neighborhood uprising and a courtroom defeat that left her speechless? Buckle up the saga of nosy neighbors, bold lies, and sweet justice will keep you hooked until the very last word. I'm David, a 55-year-old accountant who's called Maple Ridge home for 5 years. This subdivision was my refuge: quiet streets, friendly faces, and a backyard pool where I'd float under the stars. After long days untangling financial spreadsheets, that pool wasn't just water. It was my escape, where the world's noise faded and I could breathe. I raised the kids here, weathered neighborhood changes. I learned to let small annoyances slide, but peace is fragile, and it shattered when Karen Ton was elected HOA president. She lived next door, and from the moment she took the reins, she strutted like a queen, her clipboard a scepter, her eyes scanning for any infraction to fuel her reign. Karen's role began subtly, but grew suffocating. She patrolled daily, jotting notes on unapproved mailboxes or non-compliant lawn ornaments. I'd seen her type before, folks who clutch a sliver of power and wield it like a broadsword. My pool, nestled behind a low fence, was my pride. I'd maintained it, meticulously, even hosting neighbors for a Diwali celebration last year, where kids played cricket in the street and laughter echoed. But Karen had other plans. Her compliments started innocently. "What a lovely pool, David. It'd be so nice if others could enjoy it." I smiled, thinking it was neighborly chatter. Then, one sweltering afternoon, I came home to find my pool gate wide open, my security cameras installed after a string of local break-ins told the story. Karen's 16-year-old son, Tyler, and 3 friends had turned my backyard into their personal water park. Wet towels draped my patio chairs, soda cans bobbed in the pool, and chip bags littered the deck. It looked like a scene from a bad teen comedy. I marched next door, keeping my cool, and showed Karen the footage on my phone. Her smile was icy, her response absurd. As HOA president, I'd have shared access rights to exterior amenities like your pool. I blinked, stunned. Did she think her title rewrote property law? I explained that my pool was private, not a community perk, but she waved me off. "Read the bylaws, David," she said, shutting her door in my face. That night, I dug into the HOA bylaws like I was auditing a fortune. 500 company. Article 7 was unequivocal. Pools, patios, and backyard improvements were private property. No HOA oversight allowed. Research into state property laws back this up. HOAs can regulate common areas, but private lots are untouchable without consent. Karen's claim was pure fiction. The next morning, I had a top-of-the-line keypad lock installed on my gate and posted a sign: private property, no trespassing, violators prosecuted. I wasn't playing her game anymore. For a week, things were quiet. I thought she'd backed off. Then came Tuesday, a day that still sends a chill down my spine. I got home early, head throbbing from a long day, and heard shouts from my backyard. Through the sliding glass door, I saw Tyler straddling my fence, half in my yard, his face red with defiance. "You can't keep me out," he yelled. "Mom says I could swim whenever I want." His friends egged him on, filming with their phones. I stepped outside, voice steady but firm. "Tyler, this is private property. Get down and leave, or I'll call the police." He accused me of discriminating against him and violating HOA rules. The audacity was breathtaking. I gave him 10 seconds, pulling out my phone. He scrambled back over the fence, shouting, "You'll regret this." I thought that was the end. I was wrong. 20 minutes later, sirens pierced the air. To police, cruisers parked outside, their lights painting my backyard in red and blue. Officer Thompson, a seasoned cop with a no-nonsense demeanor, met me at the door. "We got a 911 call from a minor claiming you threatened and detained him," he said, notepad in hand. I invited him in, heart racing, but mind clear. I showed him the camera footage, Tyler's trespass attempt, my warning, the bylaws, and my sign. Karen burst through my front door uninvited, shrieking like a soap opera villain. "He's endangering my child," she cried, demanding my arrest. Officer Thompson didn't flinch. He reviewed the evidence, his partner taking notes. "Your son trespassed, ma'am," he said. His 911 call was false. They brought Tyler over from the sidewalk, where he'd been waiting, soaking wet and defiant. Under Thompson's stare, his bravado crumbled into stammered apologies. I looked at Tyler, a kid caught in his mother's power trip. I chose a formal, warning over charges, hoping he'd learn. Karen, though, was unrepentant. She screamed about her rights as HOA president, but Thompson shut her down. "Your title doesn't exempt you from property laws." False 911 calls carry fines up to $5,000 and possible jail time. Research confirms this misusing emergency services is a misdemeanor in most states, diverting resources from real crises. Karen paled, but doubled down, filing an HOA complaint, demanding pool access for board members and a fine for my unapproved lock. The whole meeting was electric, the room packed with neighbors fed up with Karen's reign. I arrived with a folder, bylaws, footage, police report, but I barely needed them. The board was done. Mrs. Sharma, a retired teacher, shared how Karen fined her $100 for unapproved marigolds. Mr. Khan recounted her banning the community cricket match during Diwali, claiming it disturbed aesthetics. HOA governance requires transparency and fairness. Karen's actions violated both. When she couldn't produce a bylaw supporting pool access, the room turned. George Harrison, the treasurer, dropped the bombshell. A financial audit revealed $8,000 in unauthorized HOA credit card charges, designer bags, spa trips, even a consulting fee to Karen's cousin. The board voted 7-1 for her removal. Karen's exit was theatrical, shrieking, knocking over a water pitcher, calling U.S. jealous. But the real reckoning was coming. 2 weeks later, police returned with a warrant. Karen was arrested for felony embezzlement, cuffed in her driveway as neighbors watched. In court, the judge, unmoved by her tears, listed her crimes: embezzlement, trespassing, 911 misuse. She faced a $10,000 fine, 2 years probation, 200 hours of community service, and a restraining order barring her from my property. Her blank stare as the gavel fell said it all. Her crown was dust. Now, my pool is mine again, my evenings, filled with the quiet splash of water and the chatter of neighbors. At our revived Diwali cricket matches, Karen's reign ended because the truth always catches up. If you love seeing bullies drown in their own schemes, smash that like button. And if you're hooked on stories where justice flows like a perfect swim, subscribe. You won't believe what's next.